the coronavirus. This epidemic has been all that anybody's been talking about, and it's the year 2020. It's an Olympic year. So I took some time to catch up with some of the perennial Olympians on the Canadian track and field team. Also, the head coach, just to see how everyone's been handling everything since this crisis has arisen. All right. One of the first things I want to ask you is, how's your life been altered?
Well, first of all, stuck in this house.
Everything's just up in the air. Like, I have no idea what to mentally prepare for. You know, usually have like a rough outline of where you're going to open up and where you're going to race at and where you're traveling and stuff to work towards. So it makes like working hard easier. But when everything's up in the air and you don't even know if it's in vain, then it's hard to focus.
I mean, it's different, especially with the Premier's announcement this morning that all daycares need to be closed. I mean, there's a billion other families out there in the exact same boat, but I don't know if they're all training for the Olympics. But it makes life hard. Like, I just don't know what we're going to do.
So, Roy, you're not an athlete anymore. You're the head coach of the Canadian track and field team. So, in a time like this, what's the main message you're trying to get across to the athletes?
You know what? A lot of it has been where our focus has been definitely on giving them information, making sure that they know how serious this whole thing is, making sure we're communicating back to them what the Canadian government is saying, what the medical community is saying, and making sure that they're informed fully. We have a lot of athletes that are overseas, including in the U.S., that are down there training. We've given them the information on the government, really strong language telling them that they need to come back home. For me, if we can communicate with the athletes all the different plans to stay fit, to stay hopeful, you don't want to take that away from them. The minute, and I do understand the IOC in a way in what they're doing. They're not going to come out there and make a statement right out and just destroy everyone's hopes and dreams in one foul swoop. It may happen. We don't know, but they're not going to do that. They want to let people know that they're working on ways to make this happen, which I think is a great thing.
So, training wise, what's different? What's been changed in this time?
Training is tough too, because you have to adjust to everything. Most of the facilities are closed down. Now it's just to train outside, which is going to be pretty cool for us right now. But it's something that we have to do, right? And because the Olympics, as you know, is coming up July 24th, so we can't stop. We got to keep going.
My coach is trying to be really creative and trying to get, as much as we can out of it. But at the end of the day, it's not optimal. And, we're trying to put in the best quality that we can. Just, it's totally different than, I guess, what we had planned for this portion of the year. My coach wants me doing like downhill, like hurdling, like setting up wickets and things.
Yo, you know that bridge from the Pickering GO station that goes across the 401 over to the town center? Yo, it has a pretty good incline still.
You said is the GO train running right now?
The GO train's still running, but it's pretty empty right now though. Still.
The actual bridge has a incline. I mean.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out because then it'll be inside, right?
Yeah.
I might go there tomorrow. I'll check it out.
How does this crisis right now affect your income though?
I mean, if you ain't racing, you know what I'm saying? There ain't no prize money. In terms of contract, that's going to be very interesting. I don't know, because in certain contracts, you may have to hit a certain number of events per year or whatever. But I really have no idea. Everyone's kind of like in the same boat here. Like, I already had 5-6 of my competitions canceled. And we don't even know if there's going to be a season. Like, it's messy.
Up to this point, the IOC seems like they're doing whatever they can to continue to push forward towards the games. But what else do you think that they could do?
I don't know if the Olympic Committee would change the criteria for qualifying for Olympics. So that would be a more tricky thing that Olympics Committee have to figure out too as well, because some of us didn't qualify. Most of us didn't qualify yet.
To me, it's not the actual games that's the issue. To me, it's the lead up. It's the fact that what a track meet's gonna look like leading up into a lot of those things aren't happening, and then people can't train. I think if we were to just say let's just go have the Olympics, that's not a big deal. To me, it's like the fact that everything is shut down, everything's all like weird now. That's what the biggest issue is. So even like for me, I'm not qualified for Olympics right now. I need to race. But if the Olympics go on and I'm not given an adequate chance to qualify, I'd be pissed.
Have you thought about the Olympics being canceled?
I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't really contemplated it. I mean, I think the situation that we're in right now is the situation we're navigating, and I haven't even given it much thought. As far as I'm concerned, we're competing in 5 months. Right. I mean, yeah, it may not look the way that we had it mapped out from 2-3 years out. But if we get the green light to go, then we're competing.
So I was hoping that because it was so far back that we'd have it figured out in the next 2 months, like March and April would be figured out, and then everything would open up back up in May. Just because it's in August and everything else that's been canceled already is like now, March, April and stuff. I don't know, as the days go on and I start to find out more information and how this stuff is progressing and how long it'll take to get a hold of it, it starts to get a little more worrisome. I'm really hoping that it's not canceled. That'd be terrible.
How would you feel about the games being pushed back a year, though?
I mean, it's kind of the same deal, because that pushes everything back. Like, this season would pretty much be a wash. All the work that we've put in the off season, I've been working really, really hard, because you have the extra motivation of it being Olympic year, and I'm coming off like a strong season where I'm close to my goals. To have this fall season where it's been one of the toughest to be in vain, that'd be hard to swallow. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure everybody's safe, and you don't need to die over this kind of thing. So if they're thinking that it's gonna be a risk, then I guess it's just something we got to deal with.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. There's too much that happens, like in planning cycles and planning training cycles and races, and you know this, but I mean, to everybody else, there's a lot of planning involved to be peaking at that right week in this year. And that's a long process, and throwing that off, that makes it difficult. It makes it tricky. It's hard, Anson. We plan for these dates. These dates are sent out 4 years in advance, and you know the days and probably the time that you're running more than a year in advance. Like, that's how specific your training can be, right? So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. Nobody knows. We don't even know what tomorrow's going to bring. Daycare was open yesterday and it's closed today. I don't know what that we're going to do.
Let's say from now till July, nothing changes, and you're given the option as to whether or not you stay home or you go to. Yeah, would you go?
Oh yeah. Based on what I know, I mean, I'm not a pundit, so I don't know everything about the coronavirus, but what I've seen is it more so affects people with respiratory issues and older folks. But I don't think it would be as fatal to me. I might feel a little under the weather, but if I can weather the storm and still compete, and then self-quarantine so I don't affect others, and not selfishly bring it back and put the rest of society in danger, I'll definitely do it. I would go to the Olympics, compete, and then come back and self-quarantine myself in the house or whatever I needed to do in order to make sure that everybody else was safe. But if I had to make that sacrifice, I'd do that 10 times out of 10.
I truly believe that I would go. There's no way the Olympics is going to happen and you'd be like, no, I'm choosing not to go. With the Olympics happening every 4 years, it's not really something that it's easy to say, like, I'll just skip this one. It really take every precaution within that. I think it would still be safe for the athletes. And I'm sure that if they did give the option to go, Canada would make sure to provide everything that they could to make sure that their athletes are safe. And then even with us maybe coming back to the country, then quarantining us or whatever to make sure that the population would be safe as well.
I mean, my first answer is yes. My immediate answer is yes, but it would really depend on what the state of the COVID-19 virus is. Like, if I risk getting sick and dying, or I bring it home to family members that are at high risk, because I do have family members that are very high risk right now, then I probably have to think about that.
See, that's my biggest fear. Talking to everybody, having to choose your dream, your fulfilling your contract, to, everything that, from the financial aspect to everything that you've worked for, either that or health. So that right there, that would probably be my biggest, that would probably be my least favorite outcome, is with us to be given the choice. I'd like to say that I probably thug it out and go, but I don't know.
Man, that's a tough question. But again, health first, right? So I'll definitely consider that, because I wouldn't want to go somewhere where I know potentially that it would cause harm to our health. However, if it is contained and we're it's everything is going well, the virus is contained and disappearing, and we're confident it is, then that's a different story. I'll definitely probably make my way there. Yeah, stop Corona. Yeah.
For me, it's got to be health first. This is sport, and yes, it's our livelihood, and it's what we do as support staff of athletes and our medical team. But at the end of the day, we follow the mandates of our medical professionals out there. If it was a personal decision that I was making as an athlete, that would be a completely different conversation. Trust me, I can tell you straight up, my heart would be I would feel so disappointed for the athletes if they weren't able. You've been there, and so you know what that's like. You know how it is, man. And it's just so disappointed for them, because there is no guarantee you get to come back here. There's no guarantee to anybody. But that's the piece for me that would really be disappointing.